Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook. Starting with the DXY as usual. On the daily, we got that A, B, C. Still can come down to that 100 pip or even this trend line. We have to go down onto the lower time frames to see where this can end. It's already can be completed at any time. This wave C has already broken the ending point of wave A. On the H4, there still is a possible another one down in here. W, X, Y, X2 and a Z down. We have that bear hidden there. So you have to be very careful buying. There was a buy in it last week, like I said, but you have to be very careful if you're taking that buy. Because it just can be an A, B, C up in here and then fall over on you. On the H1, starting to, you'd really need to go down onto the lower time frame, because you may get one in here and a correction in here, and you'd want to look for this sell in here. If it went for you and went and broke the low, that's great. But I'd be looking for an A, B, at least a C down in here, get it to break even. It may give you another one up before it falls over. So yeah, you have to be a little bit careful. But just go down quickly to the lower time frame and have a look. Yeah, it's looking correct. It's looking like we're getting an A, B, C in here. You get some sort of a flat there, and then you get an A, B, C as the larger correction. And then you get an A, B, C, more than likely just a C down, and then you get another one up breaking the top before it falls over. So yeah, you could scalp all this, I guess. You'd want to wait for this one up here, for this A, B, C. You could scalp that C down, and then you could scalp, if you got the buy set up, you could look for the buy to go and break the top. So it's more scalping, and a lot of them are this week. It's more scalping than anything else, looking for the direction, unfortunately. AU on the daily, we've gone sideways in here for a long time. So something's wrong with what I was looking at originally, an A, B, C. It started to go in here, and then we started to get this larger correction. So it's very difficult to find the direction because we're still in some sort of a larger correction in here. On the H4, this is extremely difficult as well, because this top here wasn't broken over here. So now it becomes even more complex. We may get a really large correction in here, and that's what I'm starting to look at. We get some sort of like an A, a B, and a C in here as a regular or a running flat. And then we get like an A, B, C before we get an A, B, C, and then we'll get another one down, breaking this low, and then it can give us that larger C up on the daily, giving us all this time factor in here. And that's the only way I can really look at it on the lower time frame. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult to trade and get a direction. On the H1, it had a large correction in here. Got some sort of a W, X, Y. You'd be looking for an X2 and then a Z down before you'd be looking for that buy on the H4. Again, you really got to go down onto the lower time frames to get, see here, you'd be looking for a buy in here. You'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. And then more than likely going down, break that low. So it's really only scalping. It's like DXY, really only just scalping, rather than finding the direction on the high time frames, because on the daily it's very difficult to find a complete structure in here. We got a nice impulse down, and we had the 3 down. This started to go, and I was looking for that C up to the 100 fib, but it's started to go sideways, so it's starting to get quite tricky, and a lot of the majors are very similar. EU on the daily, so we got that. I was looking for that A, B, C, possibly up to that 100 fib or this trend line, and it's still possible more upside on this. On the H4, we're looking for that X2 and the Z up. So we're looking for that X2. We got the bull hidden, so it's very difficult to sell. Like I said last week, we're looking for that WXY X2, and we get that Z up. So what I would be looking for early on next week is a little correction in here. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames, get a correction in there, for that buy. It may just turn into an A, B, C. So you want to get it to break even. Ideally, you get into the buy in here and it goes for you. But it may just give you a C up. So you want to get it to break even, protect your position, because it may just give you another one down before it gives you the buy setup. So yeah. GU on the daily. This is this one played out a lot better. We got that A, B, C. It's bouncing off this trend line here. If we go down to the lower time frames, we had that bull hidden. It didn't go. We got that WXY. This can still be a bull hidden here and give us that wave Z up. Very similar to EU. So again, I'd be looking for the trade. Like I said on EU, on the GU as well, I'd be looking for a little buy setup in here, wherever the 100 fib is on the lower time frame, getting it to break even. If it goes for you, all good for that wave Z up, or it may just come down, take you out at break even, break the low, and then give you one up. So yeah. NU on the daily, again, very difficult. We're getting all this sideways movement, very similar to AU. It's looking for that A, B, C up to the 100 pip. We haven't even broken the ending point of wave A. So something's wrong. The market's in, the market's in turmoil, as you'd know. I'm not convinced the Fed has stopped lifting the cash rate yet. So, there's still a lot of uncertainty in the market. H4 are looking at that WXY, X2, and a possible Z up. So again, it's virtually the same as EU and excuse me, GU on the daily. I'd be looking for a little correction in here Monday or Tuesday, get it to break even at the 100 pip. If it goes for you, all great. But yeah, you want to be protecting your position, because it can give you another one down before it goes. GY on the daily. This is at a top. Just have to take this call. Sorry about that. So looking at GY on the daily, we got this WXY. This still can get up to that 161.8 like I've been mentioning, and more than likely it will. We have this internal extended wave in this wave Y here as well. We got that like WXY, looking for an X2 last week, and then a Z up to finish off this wave Y. would have been nice if we got the cross in here and a ball hidden. It doesn't look like it's going to give that. On the H4, very difficult as well. I mean, this is quite straightforward. We got 1, 2, 3 down. The problem here is if we go down onto the H1, we have a bear hidden. We got like 1, 2, 3 down and a bear hidden. So you have to be very careful. We need a nice correction in here. If you get a nice correction Monday and Tuesday and it looks corrective, you could look for the buy for that wave Z up. Other than that, you know, if you got a nice impulse down and a sell set up, you could look for the sell just to break that low, and then you'd be looking for the buy. UI. So nothing's really changed on this. This has started to play out. We got that nice impulse down here for that A, B, C, and then I'm looking for that A, B, C. This wave C up may go and break that top, but just looking for at least a C up. On the H4, we had all that news, and it's given us all these large wicks, but it's really only a buy. Last week on the H1, it ended up being a larger correction in here. I was looking for that WX, Y, X2 and a Z up. Instead, we just got the 3 up in here, a larger correction. So I'd be looking for an A, B, C. So I'm looking for the buy. The problem is, like, we do have this like large spike here, this new spike, and we have a bear hidden there. So you will have to be careful with the bear hidden. You'd want a really nice correction. You really got to go down onto the lower time frames, like many of the pairs. You know, it's mainly just scalping. Mainly be just scalping next week. But so you'd be looking at some sort of a WX, Y, X2 and trading that Z up on the M15. So you'd want to wait for this correction. If it looks corrective, get it. Look for the buy setup. If you get the buy set up, as soon as it breaks the top, wherever this wave here ends, wherever it breaks the top, get it to break even. UCAD on the daily. This is extremely choppy as well. I've been looking for this buy for a very long time. You know, been looking for a correction over here the same size as this here. We just about completed that. So I'm looking for that WX, Y, X2 and then the Z up. So we're just looking for that buy. It's been testing our patience. I'd be looking for at least a C up. We still haven't got that nice C up, so I'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. Ideally, it goes and gives us that wave Z up. It may not be ready yet. It may just give a C up and then fall over one last time and then go. But either way, just looking for that buy. It's very difficult to buy because it's not looking bullish. Like I've been mentioning, you know, this is going very sideways. It's more bearish. So yeah, on the H1, any buy setup, I'd be, you know, any sort of buy setup, I'd be looking for a buy. You're sort of getting a buy in here. It's very risky, you know, to buy at the break of that top. But we sort of got, it's very corrective. It's starting to break the top. And and we're getting all that bearish divergence. So it's extremely risky to buy and sell at this stage. I mean, there is no sell set up on it, and there's no buy set up really either. It's a very risky buy. You know, you'd have to go down to the lower time frames and find out what's happening in here. You're probably getting some sort of WXY, or ABC. You know, but yeah, very difficult. The Swissy, this is looking rather good now. Any sort of buy setup, I'll be looking for the buy. We got that A, B, C on the daily. I mean, there still is room for it to come down to this 100 fib, but we're getting all that bullish divergence. So I'm only looking for buys on the daily. On the H4, there is still a chance we get another one down. We get that WXY, X2, and a Z down. We did have that bear hidden. That didn't come down and break the low. Or did it? Oh, it may have come down and broken the low. If it's come down and broken the low, that's good. It did come down and break that low. So that bear hidden played out last week. That bear hidden that was showed last week, that did come down, broke the low. Now we've come from a fresh low. So this is one of the pairs I'd be looking at next week for a buy. If I just zoom out a bit so you can see, but we got this nice impulse up, and we got an impulse down. I'd be looking for a correction in here, give us 3 down, or maybe even like 5 down, and then a buy setup. Any buy setup, I'd be looking for the buy. At this stage, it's more of a sell setup. If you went down to the lower time frame, I'll just go down to the lower time frame. So this is looking more complex in here. We got 1. I'd be looking at that as a B, and we get a C in here for some sort of a flat, and then an A, B, C, then an A, B, C, giving us those 3 down. Then if you got any buy set up, I'd be looking for that buy. EG on the daily. This is really difficult as well. This has been very difficult for a long time, this pair. We've got that A, B, C, very slow C down here. It's an extended wave. Possibly can come down to that 100 fib, like I've been saying for a very long time. On the H4, it was looking nice. We had all that bullish divergence in here. We got a nice impulse up. This is very deep, this correction here, though. So you have to be extremely careful, because what it can do is give us a larger correction and then more downside. So this can be an A, and then you get an A in here, and then you get a B in here, and then a C down, possibly breaking that low, or not quite breaking the low, and then giving us a regular flat or a running flat, or an expanding flat. So we have to be very careful in here, because this can turn into a larger correction. Like if it's going to be a regular flat, it'll look like this, then just come up, break that top, and then fall over on you. For an example, for a regular flat, you can only really buy this, but again, it's more than likely, the way I'm looking at it, it's going to be a larger correction for more downside. You're really only scalping. You can only buy this. We have a bull hidden here. So, yeah, it's only if you can really trade the hidden divergences to know how to trade this safely. Any bullish setup, I mean, it's risky, because if you're looking for the buy, it may just be very choppy in here and then give you that C down. before you get the larger A, B, C. So you're really only scalping, yeah. WTI has turned around, which is great. We got that A, B, C, A, B, C. That was possibly the end. This is it's finally turned motive. But we had that. I was looking for that A, B, C in here. Never went, and then kept on going, and then we got that A, B, C. Bounced off that 100 pip. So there was possible still another one down. Now it's motive. I've still got it as corrective here as an A, B, C, but it's turned motive. So we're looking at it as a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up. So it still can get up to that 161.8 here in the wave C, and then I'd be looking for a correction similar size to this over here, and then you'd be looking for that wave Z up. You really can't buy it up here. There is no buy up here. You know, we're getting all this bearish divergence here. It may turn into an A, this is a B, and you get a C down in here as a running flat or possibly expanding, but and then more upside. So I'd be more interested. I mean, there is no self set up on it, but I wouldn't be buying up here either. You know, you can see all this bearish divergence. It gets very risky. You know, waiting for that H4 X2, and then you could buy. Excuse me. Gold, I'm looking at it exactly the same way as I have for a long time. I'm looking at that A, B, C in here, and then we get that A, B, C as the larger correction before we get the A, B, C. Possibly up to the 123.6 and the 161.8, which are the weekly targets. We're only looking for the buy. We had all that bullish divergence. We've got a nice impulse up, 3 down, and so we're looking for a buy. If we go down to the lower time frames, it's you really got to go down onto the lower time frames on here and look for a buy setup too, because you may get a bear hidden in here and another one down. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, some sort of flat in the middle before it goes. So again, you really and I can't go over on YouTube. You have to join the group to learn how to trade these hidden divergence, you know, safely. Yeah, but I guess for YouTube, if you're looking for a correction in here, like GU, EU, you know, NU, you'd be looking for an A, B, and at least a C up. Get it to break even. If it goes on you, all good. But get it to break even, because it may give you another one down before it goes. Silver on the daily, very similar to gold. Looking for buys. We've got that nice breakout. We're waiting for a correction. Got that WXY X2 Z up. We had that bull hidden in here for that wave Z up. The problem was, like I've been mentioning for many months now, we lost that bearish divergence. So just looking for a correction for more upside. H4, looking at that WXY, we're getting that X2. I'd be looking for that wave Z up. Again, it's like gold and a lot of the others. You have to be careful, because we may get a bear hidden here. So this one is looking more corrective. So we may get a bear hidden in here, and then you get another one down. But really, I'm only looking for buys. If you get any buy set up, I'd be looking for the buy, but at the moment there is no buy setup. It's more of a sell setup, just for a scalp. Bitcoin on the daily. This has pretty much gone how I was looking at it for a very long time. Ever since we got this 1, 2, 3 down in here, breaking the low, I've just been looking at either a running flat or an expanding flat. We're getting an expanding flat with an extended wave in the wave C, a W, X, Y, X2, and we've got that Z up. We've got all that bearish divergence now, so it gets risky to buy. This is still looking very much bullish, and possibly can get up to that 123.6 and the 161.8. The targets in that wave Z, they still haven't been reached, but the end of wave Y, this wave Y over here, has been breached, so it can end at any time. Like I said last week, I'd be leaving it alone. It was looking more bearish last week, like I said, and it did fall over a little bit more. And it's still looking bearish now. So this is still looking rather bearish. We got that like W, X, Y. Can get an X2 and a Z down, maybe extremely choppy next week, or for the next couple of weeks. But more than likely next week it's going to be extremely choppy. So yeah, you really got to be very patient if you're trading Bitcoin. The corrections last a long time like this. It's just been going sideways. It's just been going sideways for a very long time. S&P on the daily. So this is going up to the second target. We're looking at that WXY, first target. Second target is at 161.8. You can't buy up here though. You know, you've missed the trade. The trade was back here for this buy. The H4, we're starting to get all this bearish divergence, so that's why I say you can't really be buying up here. Getting that bearish divergence, and it's not giving a sell setup yet. The H1's the same. You know, we're getting all that bearish divergence. Very difficult to buy. I did mention last week that this can be an A, B, C, and we get another one up. So you had to be careful of that, looking for the sell. You really got to wait. You got to go down onto the lower time frames, and I'd be looking for, you know, a correction in here. If it gives you a correction in here, you could scalp just breaking the top. Ideally, wherever it ends, I'd be more interested in the sell, you know. But yeah, for a correction, for a larger correction, AU 200 on the daily. This has been very difficult as well. I think I have shown you that this, I've got it as an A, B, C, and we're looking for that C up. Instead, it gave us this large correction. So I think I have shown this on YouTube. I'm not sure, but I'll go over it again. Now it can change. Because we got this large correction in here, the whole structure can change, and we may just get an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat as the correction before we get an A, B, C up to the 100 fib. So yeah, this may become more complex as well than the way I've been looking at it. H4, there really isn't much. H4, you would be looking for a correction and then another one up. We got a nice impulse. You'd be waiting for a correction, looking to buy. H1, you really need that. Well, more than likely, I mean, if you were scalping, you'd go down onto the lower time frames because we have a bull hidden here. So more than likely there's some sort of an A, B, C in here on the lower time frame, and you could scalp that up, breaking the top. Most of the pairs this week are just scalping, like I've mentioned at the start. The FTSE, this is pretty much going how I've been looking at it. A, B, C, and then we get the larger A, B, C. More than likely there's more upside in it. Did that break? Yeah, so more than likely we'll get a regular flat here for an A, B, C. This wave C up just comes and breaks that top, possibly even that top. But then we'd be looking for a larger C down for the A, B, C, and then more than likely more upside. On the H4, you'd be waiting for a correction similar to AU 200. We've got that nice impulse up, wait for a correction, and then you look for the buy. On the H1, you really, I mean, unless you're going to scalp the short, because on the H4 we're looking for that larger correction. So you can't buy it on the H1. We got all that bearish divergence. So you're either looking for a sell in the correction, which can be choppy and can give you any sort of structure, or you wait for the H4 correction and then you look for the buy, and that could take a few weeks. And then finally, the DAX. This has kept on going. Looking at that A, B, C, we're getting all that bearish divergence. So I haven't been looking for a buy for a very long time unless it was on the lower time frame scalping. More interested in A, B, and a C. I'm looking for this C down here. H4. I think last week it was looking bullish, but you had to be careful of the bear hidden, possible bear hidden there. But we got that 1, 2, 3 down, impulse up, and got the correction, and it's going. So really there's not much you could do on this unless you're already on it. You've missed any sort of buy setup. You're getting bearish divergence on that H1. So yeah, you'd have to go down onto the lower time frames again. You're probably getting some sort of an A, B, C on the lower time frames in here. If you got that C down, buy setup, you could look for more upside. I hope you all enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.